And we're back. First things first, I do want to address it's been a week since I posted on this channel. When you're trying to balance the academics, being a college student, and then you have to pump out the content, sometimes the academics win. But all my subscribers, all my supporters, if you're new and you're watching this video, consider subscribing. 24-hour sports, we come in with it. But stick with me. And I think this is a very good topic and a very interesting one because the Philadelphia Eagles just made a big time move. When you're a heavy hitter in your conference in the NFL in general, you got to make that one move to take it over the top. Now, what we've seen from Howie Roseman, he had no problem going and getting James Bradbury. He had no problem going and getting Darius Slay. He had no problem going and getting A.J. Brown, who's playing out of his mind. Film breakdown might be coming soon. But when I look at all these things and I say, okay, Howie, what can you do now? Because some teams I feel like are resting on their laurels. They look at what they have and they say, okay, maybe this is enough. You look at San Francisco, they went and got a McCaffrey last year. You look at this team, they go and get a Kevin Byard, a two-time All-Pro, a two-time Pro Bowler, dating back to 2021 in his most recent year. But these are a lot of things that I look at and I say, okay, this is big time. The play that I'm going to point to, and I think we can all think about it. Now, this is not a direct correlation. This is not a knock on Terrell Edmonds, but last night, when you have Tyreek Hill, the Miami Dolphins, their run game is stifled. Raheem Mostert, they can't get anything going. So you look at all of this and say, okay, this game may get ugly, but Tyreek Hill, big-time play over the top, gives them life. And what happened in that play? You have man coverage. All the safety has to do is be deeper than the deepest. He wasn't, though. Terrell Edmonds, that's just a lapse in coverage. You may be thinking, okay, if we look at the down and distance, I've watched a lot of film. I feel that I can get into this slant route and maybe deflect the ball, maybe make a big-time break on the ball, interception, big-time hit. Those are things we can think about in the back of our mind. And, of course, when you're a playmaker, you try to make the play. I understand. But when we got Tyreek Hill, throw all of that out the window, deeper than the deepest every single time because all it takes is one play. We've heard a lot of different analysts, a lot of different people say the scariest man in football, that's why he's the scariest man in football. And you probably think, okay, it's just one play. Is it not a big-time deal? I think it is a big-time deal because if you're in a playoff game and you're playing against the Dallas Cowboys, you're playing against the San Francisco 49ers, you let CD get deep, you let a Deebo Samuel or a Brandon Ayuk get deep. These are things that we pay attention to. When you're bringing a Kevin Byard, even if you feel that he's not that same all-pro caliber of player, I think he's still a very good player. I do think that. But if you think that, you say, okay, this is a guy who's not going to give us 8 interceptions like he did a couple seasons ago. This is a guy who's not going to rack up all of these tackles, but I can tell you what he will do. When you're an elite player like that, it's part mental. And a guy like that, he's not going to be wrong. I'm telling you, Kevin Byard in that same situation, he's either going to be there, break up the football deep in the end zone, or he's going to bait Tua Tagovailoa and go and get an interception. That's a night and day difference between a Terrell Edmonds and a Kevin Byard. Like I said, no knock to Terrell Edmonds. He's played solid football in his career up to this point, played for Pittsburgh, now played a couple games with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's a Tennessee Titan now. But like I said, you give up Terrell Edmonds a 5th and a 6th round pick, and this is the biggest thing. You probably haven't even thought about this, but we think about contracts when we go and get big-time players. A lot of people say, okay, Derrick Henry, we could get him. He's on the market. We got to pay him, though. We're looking at all of these things. Nobody wants to pay a running back. Brian Burns, he's unhappy, but we got to pay him, though. All of these different things, and, okay, maybe we can get a guy, huge cap hit. That's none of the above with Kevin Byard. This is a guy who has a potential out in 2024. So if you feel like he's falling off of a cliff, if you feel like he's breaking down physically, if you feel like Sidney Brown is that guy, he came out of the draft with Devon Witherspoon, an elite back end for Illinois, of course, but he's only played 3 games thus far. And like I said, just about everybody in that secondary has missed a game. But however, though, if you're looking at that and say, okay, we feel like we can bring up one of these guys. We feel like we don't like Kevin Byard per se for Sean Desai's scheme. Just get off of him. Of course, I don't think that's going to happen, but that's a potential thing that we can look at and that we have to look at when we talk about these big-time players. So it's really all good. I see nothing wrong or bad with this move. It's a big-time move, and I think that it is an A+. Okay, a 5th and a 6th round pick. Are we going to miss that? Are we going to draft Tom Brady in the 6th round next year? Are we going to get a big-time player? We're not going to get a big-time player in that round, and if we do, then we luck up. But, of course, you have some other things going into it. You got some conditional picks that you can look at. Of course, you had the stint with Arizona. They had the scandal with Jonathan Gannon. He's taking interviews while he's supposed to be scheming up for the Super Bowl. We're not going to talk about that right here, though, but I'm looking at all of that, and I think that last night you get a big-time win. This is a top 5 team in sacks, albeit you feel like, I feel like on offense and defense, they haven't even reached their potential yet. So you haven't reached your potential. You're top 5 in sacks, you're top 5 in offense. You got all of these things working for you, but you bring in a Byard. He's going to help you in the run game. He's especially going to help you in the passing game, running some of those exotic schemes with a Sean Desai. Of course, he's going to take a couple weeks to learn it if you have your matching patterns, your different types of things, but he's a football player. Get him on the football field and let him play. The Tennessee Titans, it's frustrating when you look at it from their perspective because I think that they've been in some football games. They haven't closed it. I mean, you have Ryan Tannehill getting hurt in a one game against the Ravens. Malik Willis comes in and he takes 4 sacks in only a quarter. That's something that you look at and say, man, where are we in this situation? You drafted Will Levis. Is it Will Levis time? A lot of different things. Now they're coming off of a bye week. I have to pay attention to that as well. But you still got Derrick Henry. You still got a pretty good defense. I mean, I'm looking at it and you're in a game, but where can you go for the season? I think that's something that we truly have to look at and say, okay, the offensive line, they haven't stepped up like we thought they would. So I think for the Tennessee Titans, you may be in that selling mode. Is somebody going to pick up a Derrick Henry? I do not know at this moment, but I think it's something that we could pay attention to. Kevin Byard, I've been hearing the rumbling since the offseason. I mean, training camps, OTAs, NFL draft, free agency. We've been hearing, okay, Kevin Byard, he's a guy. Okay, he wants a different contract. Okay, he wants to get out. He wants to win football games. And I've heard the Philadelphia Eagles tied into that. I've heard the Philadelphia Eagles, Buda Baker, I've heard it with all of these different types of guys in the NFL. Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Simmons. They've been tied into it with a lot of different safeties, but I think they got their guy. What do you think about this move? In the comments, let me know down below, of course. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I think this is a big time move. Philadelphia Eagles. Other teams in the NFC, other teams in the AFC, you see they're not scared. Howie Roseman isn't scared. Even if you think that they were the best team in the NFC, they still feel like it's not enough. They went and got an all-pro caliber safety, and I have to love the move. Thank you for watching.